Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk. Man, I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I'm just chilling, man, enjoying my calm Sunday. You feel what I'm saying? We got some things that we currently need to discuss that's going on in the boxing world. We're going to talk about what went wrong for Edgar Berlanga after getting stopped in the fifth round by Hamza Shiraz. Ryan Garcia hating on Shakur Stevenson and exactly what I think about that. And Oscar De La Hoya cooking Edgar Berlanga after the stoppage loss. You feel what I mean? And of course, we're going to get into the open boxing topics and all that good stuff, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building so far. I already see all the comments rolling in. Y'all must have been anticipating your boy, man. Salute to the nation. Forever Dedicated says, yo, Mark, if you're Keith Connolly, a.k.a. Berlanga's manager, what exactly is next? He was seen in an ambulance truck crying, Mark. What do you think exactly is next? I don't know why you asked the question twice, but and I can understand why he's crying. He took an embarrassing loss in his hometown. You feel what I mean? Nobody wants to get knocked out. Nobody wants to lose, especially at a high level. So I understand why he's crying. That's totally normal to do. That's a normal reaction with human beings. If I'm Keith Connolly, the whole objective, of course, if I want to continue doing business with Edgar Berlanga, is getting him back in the winning column. Now, they could take a similar approach to what they did previously and take a light touch, you know what I mean, to get back in the winning column, you know what I mean, like a winnable fight, you know what I mean, probably somebody they could knock out, you know, pretty easily or whatever the case is. Just build that confidence back up because it's one thing to lose and then it's another thing to get knocked out. You see what I'm saying? And lose. So there's going to be some things that Edgar Berlanga may be questioning and, you know, dealing with internally. And, you know, we've seen the best do it. Like when Miguel Cotto lost fights, you know what I mean? He took a couple fights to get his, you know, confidence back and stuff like that. That's a normal thing. You feel what I mean? So I would like to see Edgar Berlanga, you know what I mean, get into some fights and win a couple fights to get his confidence together. And then hopefully we can see another big fight for him in the super middleweight division. So shout out to Forever Dedicated for that question. Simba Boxer says, salute Mazuma, king of boxing talk. Berlanga posted back on IG. Looks like he's in great spirits. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say he in great spirits, but he's not like too down and out about it, which is a great thing to know. You know what I mean? It speaks to his mental fortitude because, you know, if that had been the wrong person in that same situation that Edgar Berlanga just experienced, you know what I mean, they probably would be thinking about quitting the sport altogether. You feel what I mean? So I guess that's a good thing. Calm Mind says, Mazuma TV, great fights we had yesterday. Can't wait for next week. I hope you are too. How's your Sunday, brother, man? Everything is well, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Smoochie, what up? Silks Bando in the building. He says Berlanga got beat so bad he might denounce being Puerto Rican. That's crazy. Shout out to the boys, Silks Bando. Coffee Plant, what up? He said they saying Hamza Shiraz's hand wraps were suspicious. Were they really? With as strict of a commission that New York State Athletic, with as strict of an athletic commission that New York has, you know what I mean, that's historically made people rewrap hands due to not following their rules. I highly doubt that Hamza Shiraz wraps were suspicious. And if they were, we can't really blame nobody except Edgar Berlanga's team because they're the one who had to sit there and watch, you know, the fighters get their hands wrapped. So if they did something illegal with the wraps and the commission wasn't able to, you know, pick up on that, then you feel what I'm saying? You got to blame Edgar Berlanga's team because they're the ones who sit there and witness the hands being wrapped. You feel what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Miles Sadiq, what up? Hugo Juice, what up? Salute. Marky Dan, what up? Yasir Ali says 168 is a waste now. We can still get some big fights, Yasir. Let's not be too pessimistic about the division right now. Yeah, man. Yo, babe, look. The troll came in. Babe. Go look at the channel and look at it. It says Mazuma Plant. Go look at it. And then screenshot that. Screenshot that picture. You don't see it? It says Mazuma Plant. It's in the chat. That nigga put a whole head of hair on me. Like so long hair too. Hold on. I'm about to see. Hold on. You see it? Yo, these niggas really be doing that shit. You see it? I got a screenshot this one. Yo, nigga put makeup on me and all. Yo, the nigga did my eyebrows. Yo, he erased my mustache and everything. Yo, these niggas is weird, bro. Y'all a little bit too good with that editing, cuz y'all nigga really had me looking like a female. Period. You a clown. But anyways, yeah, that's how you know the channel popping. When niggas taking time out of their weird ass day to do shit like that. Bullies, what up? Pagai Petit, what up? Let's get into this boxing talk, man. What? Why? Why I don't what? Why don't I shout you out? Because you trolling. You came on just to say period. Shout out to Millennia in the building, my baby. You feel what I'm saying? Slime, what up? The mindless consumer, what up? Agent 86 in the building. All right, y'all, we about to cook up, man. Babe, lower that shit. Thank you. Definitely hit the likes. We about to cook, man. We about to speak about what went wrong with Edgar Berlanga. You feel what I'm saying? We definitely about to say what went wrong with Edgar Berlanga. If you didn't check out my video that I put out earlier today, it's about a 17-minute video, man. I was just cooking while I was driving. You know what I mean? Was just trying to kill some time when my son took his little power nap, whatever the case is. And I was just speaking about the fight. I was speaking about the two big fights, you know, the co-main event, Shakur Stevenson and William Cepeda. And then we spoke about Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz. Now, what went wrong for Edgar Berlanga? This is going to be a long explanation. I ain't going to lie to you. It's going to be a long explanation because I think that the mistakes that he had made early in his career, not just him, but his matchmakers, the people that was representing him at one point in time, I think that their way of going about guiding his career is what ultimately led to this situation. Now, y'all probably wondering what I'm talking about. Edgar Berlanga, you know what I mean, before he became this big name and was leaning back with Fat Joe and calling himself the King of New York, he was an up-and-coming prospect in the super middleweight division, and he was known for his consecutive first-round knockouts. You see what I'm saying? And he was building up a reputation for being this ferocious puncher. You see what I mean? And guys just couldn't get to the second round against Edgar Berlanga. And I think the man to break that whole streak was Damon Nicholson, who, you know, he wasn't an elite level fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but he been around the block. You see what I'm saying? Experienced vet, and he wasn't really going for, you know what I mean, that shit that Edgar Berlanga had going on. So, you know, from then on, we've seen Edgar Berlanga, you know, slowly step up in competition. But, you know, being 16 fights in and having all first-round knockouts, he didn't really learn anything. You know, he didn't really progress and develop, you know what I mean, to the standard that he was supposed to, due to how quickly he was getting rid of his opposition. You know what I'm saying? If you consecutively knocking people out in the first round and they're providing little to no resistance, you're not going to learn anything. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to Anonymous in the building. So, the man didn't learn anything. He didn't. It's like if you're playing, I always say this, it's like if you're playing 2K on rookie mode. You see what I mean? If you're playing 2K on rookie mode, it's going to be easy to outpoint these teams and, you know, beat teams by 30, 40, 50 points. You see what I'm saying? And then you'll see a whole difference when you switch it from rookie to normal. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit more resistance there. You may win, but there's going to be a little bit more resistance there. See, the problem with Edgar Berlanga was he went from rookie mode to hard mode. Pause. The difficulty went to, you know, like hard mode. You feel what I'm saying? And he didn't have the experience. He didn't have the experiences necessary to, you know, thrive well in those scenarios. You know what I'm saying? The mindless consumer says, if you a killer, you a killer. I understand what you're saying, consumer, but at the same time, consumer, you could be a killer and come into a fight not knowing much, and you know what I mean, be caught off guard by some shit. You could be a killer, but if you're not prepared for the situation, it's gonna be hard to, execute the kill, if you understand what I'm saying. But because it's one thing to like be a killer, but you know what I mean, when it's your first situation going up against another killer, how exactly you gonna react? You feel what I mean? It takes experience. You know what I mean? To be a killer is one thing, but to be an experienced killer is another thing. The experienced killer is much more dangerous than somebody who just hopping off the porch, attempting to kill something. Berlanga was one of them dudes that, you know what I mean, was pretty much kept on the porch. You know what I'm saying? Then he wasn't able to come off the steps yet. Then all of a sudden, you know what I mean, with very little practice, they just threw him out there. You know what I mean? He skipped the sidewalk altogether. They threw him right in the middle of the street. Let's just keep it 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, them guys that he was facing early on in his career, he was knocking them cans down. They didn't provide any type of resistance. He wasn't learning anything. You see what I'm saying? He was just punching these dudes and they was going out. You know what I mean? And we saw the effect that those 16 first-round knockouts had when he was facing guys like, Damon Nicholson. You know what I mean? Where he was knocking them down. But, you know what I mean? Because Damon Nicholson was providing resistance, it really challenged Edgar Berlanga's finishing abilities. And he had trouble getting finishes against certain guys. You see what I mean? He getting rocked in fights. He's getting knocked down against guys that he's not supposed to be getting knocked down against. Let's just keep it 1,000. So then, you know what I mean? Edgar Berlanga finds himself in a huge fight with Canelo Alvarez, not because he was worthy of the opportunity, not because he beat anybody notable, but because Canelo needed to pick a motherfucking cherry, bro. Let's just keep it 1,000. You know what I mean? And Edgar Berlanga happened to be the cherry that caught Canelo Alvarez's eye. He knew that Edgar Berlanga was inexperienced, green, easy work, easy payday. So they went after it and got the fight done. Since Edgar Berlanga did that fight with Canelo Alvarez, where he was ultimately shut out, dominated, dropped, you know what I mean? Everything except stopped. Edgar Berlanga has been like, not like ironic. I'm gonna say he's been figuratively and literally parading around as if he's this motherfucking veteran now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he struggled so bad, and with Romer Alexis Angulo, he bit Romer Alexis Angulo out of frustration. Like that's how you know, like he shouldn't have. That's how you knew that he was very immature in the game. You know what I mean? Where he gets so frustrated, he doesn't have enough composure to keep his mouth closed. You know what I'm saying? Like the motherfucker was so immature in the ring and so weak mentally, I'm gonna say, that he went out of his way to try to bite another man. You feel what I'm saying? So he's parading around as if he's this fucking superstar now because he fought Canelo Alvarez. You know, he really got people thinking that, he's so much more experienced now and he's a totally different fighter because he got that experience under his belt against Canelo. Bro, it just don't work like that, bro. You don't just have one experience and then all of a sudden you're a totally different fighter. There may be some changes. You may have grown as a fighter, but to think you made a complete 180 overnight after one fight, that's not how that shit works. You need to go through this shit time and time and time again for you to really develop into this vet that you claim to be. To be honest with you, Edgar Berlanga, in my eyes, was still a green fighter. I don't give a fuck if he fought Canelo Alvarez. You fought Canelo one time. One time, you having one high-level fight does not qualify you to be this one vet. I mean, to be like this fucking bona fide vet. That's not how this shit works. Just like how you having two notable wins like Teofimo Lopez don't make you a fucking Hall of Famer. You see what I mean? Like these motherfuckers, they do the bare minimum and they just want to have they self-proclaim themselves as these type of veterans and Hall of Famers and GOATs and all this shit, bro. That's not how that works. You see what I'm saying? So, let me see the comments. Yeah, Berlanga head was gassed off of surviving 12 rounds. And I said it in the video that I put out earlier. I've never seen anybody be so confident off of a loss like Edgar Berlanga. I've never seen somebody get arrogant off of a loss. I've never seen that. And it wasn't a competitive fight at all. He keep trying to spin it as if he stood in a pocket with Canelo. And like, did Berlanga show heart? Yeah, he showed heart. I've seen multiple fights where he's shown heart, get off the canvas, and I've seen him get off the canvas to win a fight. Wasn't anybody notable, but he had enough heart to do so. We seen him get dropped by Canelo and get up and continue fighting. Like, he has heart, but you know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily mean that the fight that you had with Canelo, you should have gotten any type of praise for, or that doesn't mean that you and Canelo was competitive. Like, that's just not how that shit works. So, moving on, he gets the Canelo Alvarez fight. He's this big megastar, and he trying to talk to Caleb Plant as if he's the A side, and he's talking about how he wants to fight everybody in the division, Jaime Munguia, all these guys. He talking about he could beat all these guys. When, in all honesty, I don't think Edgar Berlanga beats any of them dudes. I don't think he beats Diego Pacheco. I don't think he beats Christian Mbili. I don't think he beats I don't know. I don't know about Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant, he looked like he lost a step in his last fight. But when we talk about the Caleb Plant that we were accustomed to seeing, I don't see him beating a Caleb Plant. I don't see him. I don't know if he beat Steven Nelson. I don't know these things. I think that Edgar Berlanga was somebody who skipped the line early on in his career. He didn't have to do what the other fighters had to do in order to grow and develop to hopefully be in these world title opportunities. This man skipped the line. You know what I mean? He had some type of star power in New York because, his name was connected to guys like Fat Joe and Lil Wayne and stuff like that, guys in the music industry. So because these celebrities know him, you know what I'm saying, he was able to get some clout, attention off of them. And then we got people running around talking like Edgar Berlanga, the next big thing to come out of New York and all this bullshit. So I think that was a situation that Edgar Berlanga was in. He didn't have to experience what everybody else had to experience in the game in order to grow and develop. And it ultimately cost him because there were several things that had happened to him. Well, there was things that happened to him in the Hamza Shiraz fight that he did not respond properly to, and that just let me know altogether that he was inexperienced. Because when somebody's actually experienced and done hit the canvas before, or done been hurt in the ring before, at a high level, they have a certain way about they have a certain thing that they have a certain way about going about those situations where they're able to survive and actually get to the next round and even recover. Edgar Berlanga in that fight with Hamza Shiraz, he started off well. He had a good fast jab. I seen him land some right hands here and there, and he might have edged out a couple of those rounds until the stoppage, to be honest with you. And Hamza Shiraz even admitted it. He said, I knew I was down, I knew I was down in the fight, but, I was making my adjustments and all that stuff. And that was exactly what I seen Hamza doing. And Hamza looked strong as shit off of the rip. I seen this man shooting right hands at Edgar Berlanga that was just whizzing by him. And I'm like, bro, if that shit would have hit Berlanga, that would have done a whole lot of damage. Edgar Berlanga is somebody who loses focus in the ring, defensively, to be exact. He rolls underneath with his right hand down, stays right on the center line for Hamza Shiraz. Shiraz lands a nasty left hook. It looked like it hit the temple area. It definitely rocked Edgar Berlanga, but he stood up to it. But the combination that followed through after the fact is what put Edgar Berlanga down. So defensive, not being responsible defensively, man. You know what I mean? If you're going to be rolling, that's why I always tell my guys, if you're going to be rolling underneath a shot, whatever the case is, you bring your hands with you. If you're going to be slipping shots, bring your hands with you. Unless you're taking yourself completely out of range, you bring your hands with you. And if you're going straight back, go straight back with your hands up, just to have that extra insurance in case a shot like the one Hamza Shiraz landed on Edgar Berlanga in the beginning, in the fourth round, you'll have that coverage needed to at least, take a majority of the power off of the shot. So Edgar Berlanga goes down. He's hurt. definitely hurt. He gets up, he plays as if everything is fine, and in that moment right there, Edgar Berlanga should have been doing whatever it took to get to to get to the fifth round, which he was able to do so. But he suffered an even uglier knockdown from not tying Hamza Shiraz up. Edgar Berlanga should have been looking to tie up Hamza and not allowing Hamza to continue his onslaught. You know what I mean? What did Edgar Berlanga do instead? Being the inexperienced fighter that he is, he tried to trade with him when he was already hurt. Hamza Shiraz was on kill mode. You know what I'm saying? He was punching with bad intentions, and after he hurt Edgar Berlanga, his shots was on point. You know what I mean? They were accurate. They were deadly. An experienced fighter would have tied Hamza Shiraz up and not allow Hamza Shiraz to get off at all. Edgar Berlanga decides to trade with him again. Hamza Shiraz lands that right hand that I was talking about that was whizzing by Edgar Berlanga. That right hand made his mark. Edgar Berlanga fell very ugly, face first. His shoulder broke his fall, thank God. But regardless, he was out. And in all honesty, I think the referee should have stopped the fight right there. But considering that it was, a highly anticipated fight, or whatever the case is, it being the main event on a Turkey Al Sheik card, I think the referee decided to give him another chance. The bell rings. He goes over to his corner. I see his corner's doing everything to wake him up. You know what I mean? To get him back to his senses, for him to, snap back and, not be hurt when he goes out into the fifth round. But I think in all honesty, that left hook that had hit Edgar Berlanga on the temple caused some irreversible damage in the fight. He wasn't able to get his senses back. It just wasn't enough time to, get him back in the mix. So he comes out for the fifth round, knowing that he's still hurt, doesn't try to tie up, smother Hamza Shiraz, nothing. He's not trying to save himself. He sits there. He stands directly on the center line, just like how he was doing, just making himself food. Hamza Shiraz throws a throwaway left hook, shoots the right hand right down the pipe. It hits Edgar Berlanga square on the chin. He punches right through Edgar Berlanga's guard. Edgar Berlanga loses sense of where he is. Both his gloves touch the canvas, and the referee saves him from further damage and stops the fight. You see what I mean? So, all in all, man, I said all of that to say, what went wrong with Edgar Berlanga? His whole career. Since all the mistakes that they had made in his career led up to this moment, and is exactly why the result happened the way it happened. And Top Rank is known for their matchmaking, of course. Let's not get that wrong. But I think that they were a little bit too overcautious with his matchmaking. You see what I mean? There was too many light touches, in his first 15 to 16 fights. He could have gotten some tougher opposition that, would have pushed him to, be more creative with his offense and actually learn some things and, really contribute to his growth. But those 16 fights, I think, really stunned his growth. And I think he's been playing catch up, ever since then. You know what I mean? And even though he faced Canelo Alvarez, he was still very inexperienced. You know what I mean? Because Canelo did drop him, but didn't have him in a situation where he was really hurt or about to get stopped or anything like that. You know what I mean? And I don't think that he ever been in there with somebody as tall, rangy, and as big of a puncher as Hamza Shiraz. So, a lot of inexperience. You know what I mean? A lack of focus defensively is what went wrong for, Edgar Berlanga, and that's exactly why, in my opinion, he got stopped. He got stopped in the fifth round. You feel what I'm saying? Anonymous said they skipped a few steps in the development. I agree, because usually how the way they go about it is they'll start you with some light touches that you could look good against. Then they'll get you a guy who probably has a lopsided record, but he ain't never been stopped. You feel what I mean? Probably done faced all killers, but ain't never been stopped. Then they'll give you guys, like journeymen that have fought for world titles and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And if you do well in that certain area, then you start facing the former world champions. You know what I mean? They might be washed up, but they've been around the block. They know what it is to be world champion. You know what I mean? That'll give the matchmakers a good like measuring stick to see exactly where you at. And once you start blowing past them, then you can start getting into like, the other contenders of the division. You know what I mean? Do some title eliminators. You feel what I mean? You know what I mean? Just making your mark in the division. You know what I mean? And then once you start stomping on the contenders, then you might become a mandatory. And if you don't become a mandatory, you could be a highly ranked contender in the division, and you might get picked, by a champion to fight. You feel what I'm saying? And then that's when you are, you done seen it all. You done had the light touches. You done had the tough, durable guys. You know what I mean? You had the gatekeepers. You had the former world champions. You beat the contenders. Now you're going up against the champions. You know what I mean? I think Edgar Berlanga skipped a lot of those steps overall. You know what I mean? He didn't really face them durable guys until Demond Nicholson. And, by the time he got to Demond Nicholson, he was already like close to 20 fights in. You see what I'm saying? Then, you know what I mean? No former world champions on your resume from what I understand. But until like you didn't face them dudes. You didn't face any top contenders in your division, prior to the Canelo fight. You didn't face those former world champs. Like you just didn't do it. You did skip a lot of steps. Anonymous is completely right. Your growth was stunned as a result of, I guess Top Rank wanting to keep this first round knockout streak going alive for you. That shit hurt you. You go around and you bragging about it, and you on these Spanish podcasts talking about, those first round knockouts is why you're a legend. No, those first round knockouts are the reason why you're having the trouble that you're having right now in your career. And that's why I've always said those first round knockouts, is that an impressive feature? Yes. But that same feat, that same accomplishment that you have is the exact reason why you are as far behind in your career as you are. Berlanga should be a lot better at this point in time. He's supposed to be a lot better than what he currently is. Marlon 2631 says, he 28, Mark. Do you think he will ever become champion in his career? Not in this climate. Not in this climate, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, if he's at 168, he already lost to the dude who got all the belts. You see what I mean? Let's say if Terrence Crawford fights Canelo Alvarez and beats Canelo, they'll most likely rematch. And if not, you know what I mean, Terrence Crawford will probably retire. So Edgar Berlanga, best bet, to be honest with you, is like grab a vacant title and, fight another contender and probably, trash one of them. You feel me? Because like I just don't see him beating any of the top guys. I don't see him beating any of the top guys. Let's just keep it 1,000. Like I said, look at the top guys at super middleweight today, outside of Canelo Alvarez, because he lost to Canelo. He lost to Hamza Shiraz, right? Can he beat a Jamal Charlo? I don't think so. Can he beat a Caleb Plant? If Caleb Plant's clicking that night, I don't think he beats Caleb Plant. Christian and Billy, fuck no. I think he's too strong for him. Probably, I think that's a terrible style for him. Unless he clip him, Billy, it's just not going to happen, and I doubt he will. Diego Pacheco, I think he gets absolutely slaughtered by Diego Pacheco. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. I think to be honest with you, I think Steven Nelson, depending on how the way he comes back, after that Diego Pacheco fight, I think Steven Nelson beats Edgar Berlanga. I genuinely believe that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to tell you, Anonymous. I was saying this shit yesterday. That boy had that, that pass that they give you. You pay a couple dollars more for on Six Flags. I think it's called the Flash Pass. You know what I mean? Everybody's sitting in line, and you got the Flash Pass, so you get into the front of the line real quick, and you know what I mean? By the time somebody at the back of the line gets on a roller coaster, you done got on that bitch 3-4 times. That's Edgar Berlanga. He had a shortcut. He didn't earn that spot. And that's exactly why, you know what I mean, these fights been going the way they've been going, because you throwing this motherfucker into the deep water, and he ain't even learned how to swim in the 3 feet pool yet. He definitely had the flash pass. You can't just throw a motherfucker in a 12 feet pool. You know what I mean? And them motherfuckers didn't even show you that they could swim on the 3 feet side, on the 4 feet side. Feel me? They gonna struggle. He said Thomas Lamana might put hands on Berlanga straight by Suda. He won't, but I understand what you're saying. It might be a tough fight for Berlanga, for real. Especially if he don't clip Cornflake. That'd probably be a bad job for him. This parade, he said, this parade finna be crazy in PR Mark. Yeah, that motherfucker had 6 people at this parade. It was 20 last time. Now he about to have 6. And 3 of them motherfuckers, 4 of them motherfuckers gonna be 3 of his family members and him. You feel me? It's just that's what went wrong with Edgar Berlanga, to be honest with you. Shout out to my pop in the building. He said Berlanga needs to be humble to begin with. Then he needs to go backwards for 4 or 5 fights and start again. That's what I was saying. Just getting back in the winning column. You feel what I'm saying? Getting some light touches or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? Have him as you could probably put him as like a co-main event or an opening bout on like a 3-fight card. You know what I mean? But if he continues dealing with Turki Al-Sheikh, they're going to keep throwing tough fights at him. Turki Al-Sheikh don't be doing these light touches, man. Turki Al-Sheikh don't believe in them light touches. He going to give you the money that you're looking for. Might give you more money than what you're looking for, but you're going to have to fight a dog. You see what I mean? So Edgar Berlanga might have to take a step back from Riyadh season for a little bit. That's the major league. You know what I mean? You need to go ahead and sign with Eddie again or some shit like that. Let him get you some UK level fighters, knock some of them UK level fighters off. Go ahead, fight you another McCrory or whatever the case is. You go ahead and be some UK level fighters, whatever. Get yourself back in the mix. You know what I mean? And I agree with my pop. I think he should take his time. 4 or 5 fights or whatever the case is. And then you can start talking about getting back in the mix. You feel what I mean? Run off 4 or 5 wins. Yeah, I mean, that might take you like 2 years to do or whatever. And get right back up there with the other guys, man. By the time that comes around, you know what I mean? He could probably fight for a world title and be in a better position than he was, in this previous fight. He needs to go into the Summer League. What you mean, Pop? The Summer League. This nigga Marky Dan said Berlanga need to go open a chopped cheese bodega, lead a boxing alone. God damn. Oh, the G League? Oh, yeah, he definitely need to go to the G League. Whatever boxing version is of that, he need to just go ahead. Berlanga might need, he should go to pro box. He should do a couple pro box fights. You feel me? Subtle and this is the thing. Edgar Berlanga is so motherfucking arrogant that he might feel like, even though he lost to Hamza Shiraz, that, you know what I mean, they ain't offering no money, so he ain't gonna look at that shit. He might feel like those platforms, he too big for them type of platforms. Because I already know Edgar Berlanga is still gonna be popping it like he's some type of star. You feel what I mean? When he's never even done star shit. Part of being a star is rising to the occasion whenever you in that, whenever the stakes is high. Edgar, you done had 2 big fights, you laid an egg in both. You feel me? You laid an egg against Canelo Alvarez, you try to spin it as if like you this motherfucking warrior. You know what I mean? Like, you got dominated for 12 rounds, but you got knocked down by Canelo. But guess what? When I got up, I told Canelo to suck my D. I told Canelo to suck my D, man. I told him right to his face. Yeah, but you lost though. Yeah, man, all the greats lose, man. But you're not great. See, that's what you're not acknowledging. You're not great. Imagine getting dropped by a nigga and bragging about what you told him after he dropped you. Huh? Now how stupid you sound? It would make sense if like, oh yeah, he dropped me, yeah, but I dominated the round, or yeah, he dropped me but I dropped him too. Like that would sound a lot more gangster. But you over here getting up telling him to suck a D. You over here he telling you, but I told him to suck a D though. He knocked me down, but I told him to suck a D. I ain't had no respect for him. He ain't had no respect for you neither, nigga. Dropping bombs on you, putting you on your ass when you was a fucking cruiserweight the night of the fight. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look. So, like I said, all in all, that's what went wrong with Edgar Berlanga. The way that he was brought up in his career, cutting all these corners in terms of, not facing any contenders, gatekeepers, you know what I mean? No solid former champions, like nothing. They couldn't give you nothing. And it showed. This fight 100 Shiraz showed how inexperienced and incapable you were to fight at an elite level. He said on the Breakfast Club, it wasn't really a loss. See, I understand that because I had a fighter on Saturday that actually, came up short in his first fight or whatever. Didn't get outclassed, anything like that. It was a split decision. Really could have went either way for real. So I told my fighter, I'm like, yeah, don't look at this as like a loss. You know what I mean? This is all experience for you to, get to the top of the game. So I understand that mentality in terms of not looking at it as like a loss, but like a lesson. But at the same time, you can't be arrogant about a fight you came up short in. Like I just don't understand that. Dust 22 in the building. He says Berlanga versus Plant next. I would actually like to see that, but and I know we're not a fan of tune-ups or anything like that. But at the same time, I think that they need to get their confidence back, man. I think Caleb Plant, I don't know exactly what the fuck that situation was. I don't know if he got to make some adjustments in his camp. I don't know what's going on with that, but I would like to see both of these guys come into the fight confident about their chances of winning. I think taking two fighters, I think bringing two guys, coming off of a losses to go face each other in another big fight, you know what I mean? I don't know how that'll really turn out. You feel what I mean? So I would like to see both of these guys, take some little easy work real quick. Get you a can, get that can up out the way, get yourself back in the winning column and then face each other. Why not? Or should they just go ahead and face each other at the current state that they're in now? What y'all think? Should they face each other off the rip? Or should they should just get a quick little dub real quick and then come back to the mix? Because I can understand how I could sound hypocritical saying that, and then also saying I'm not really a fan of marinating fights. You feel what I mean? So it do kind of sound contradictory. But this is a situation where it's like both guys lost bad in their previous fights. So it's like, do we want to see that current version of them face each other next? Aaron says Plant will be confident. Berlanga is right for the taking. Why would you say that Plant will be confident? His last performance wasn't impressive at all. Neither one of them performances was good. You know what I mean? At the same time, I would rather have Caleb Plant's performance instead of Berlanga's performance. My pop said not an attractive fight right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they got to get themselves back in the mix. You feel what I mean? I don't really want to see that, to be honest with you. Who do I favor right now, Berlanga or Plant? I don't know, bro. I got to see. To be honest with you, I need to know whether that was just a bad performance for Caleb or he genuinely, slipped. You feel me? Because I feel like Edgar Berlanga still got something in the tank. He was just in there with a terrible style. You know what I mean? He just got clipped. It is what it is. But nothing that Edgar Berlanga did show me that he was on the decline or anything like that. He just got his ass whooped. He got stopped. But Caleb Plant gave us 12 rounds, and he looked horrible, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the worst I've ever seen Caleb Plant look. Just look burnt out, like he had a bad weight cut or something, or I don't know. I don't know. Coffee Plant said not even slipped. Plant took some solid punishment throughout his career. Yeah, that Benavidez fight was brutal for sure. That accumulation could really slow you down a bit. Canelo Alvarez, he was holding his own with Canelo. he got stopped. But even prior to that, he was getting Canelo was dropping some bombs on Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? It wasn't all headshots, but getting hit in the shoulders and the arms and all that shit. That shit could wear away at you too. It ain't just headshots that just make you fall off. You know what I mean? Your body absorbing punishment when it's not supposed to be, regardless of where you getting hit. That shit could catch up to you. RC says Plant's punch resistance seems to be gone, which would benefit Edgar. Well, you can make the same case about Edgar. Where was his punch resistance last night? Like, we seen Caleb Plant get hurt by Resendiz, but he didn't get packed up and put up out of there. Like, Berlanga genuinely got packed. And Caleb Plant is not a pillow puncher. He's not a pillow puncher. Trust me. If you sleeping motherfuckers like Darrell like that with one punch, you got something in them gloves. Trust me. You got some pop. I think Caleb Plant got some sneaky power. That's what I think. What the fuck was the game plan, bro? For who? Berlanga? Who you talking about, Coffee? You got to be talking about Berlanga, right? I think Berlanga was just trying to, based off of what I seen, it went only 5 rounds and shit changed after the 4th. But I think Edgar Berlanga was just fighting his fight. You know what I mean? Trying to box and, use a jab and create combinations and, rip body shots and stuff. But Hamza Shiraz just wasn't going for it, y'all. He was not going for it. I think Berlanga was just boxing and just got hit with some shit. That's what I think. I seen him try to work on the inside with Hamza, but the thing is like you keeping your head on the center line while you working the body. You begging for an uppercut. Edgar underestimated his opponent and got packed up. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna say he underestimated Hamza. I just think that he just wasn't ready for Hamza. Like, I think he trained well. He looked like he was in great shape. He just didn't have the tools necessary. You could take somebody serious, train your ass off, you know what I mean, and still get outclassed. You feel me? Like, that's just the game. Like, I know for a fact Cepeda trained his ass off for Shakur. Just wasn't on his level. He could have trained as hard as he wanted to. He couldn't beat him. It's just different levels. That's all right. This is how the game goes sometimes. What my pop say? I think my pop commented something. He said Berlanga is 28, going on 35 after this fight. Sheesh. It's definitely going to be a little obstacle for him to go through, though, man. That's going to be tough to bounce back from. You know what I mean? When you going from, being on this high horse to being knocked out in front of your own people, your girl walking to the back with you and you all concussed and all that. That's something that could really fuck with you mentally, man. And how we know that Edgar Berlanga going to be, how he going to be aggressive in his next fight. He might question his chin and might be extremely cautious in his next bout. You know what I mean? Like, these are mental challenges that fighters go through when they get stopped. That's a tough situation to bounce back from. Yeah, like, go get the money. He says he definitely was punching with his head on the line. He never took his off the line. That's a fact. And I noticed that when Hamza snapped his head back with a good uppercut on the inside, and he actually landed it twice in that one round. But you know what I mean? Edgar Berlanga, he rolled underneath a shot, had his hand down while he was rolling, and then he stood on the center line after he rolled. When you should be you should be looking to step around your opponent after you roll. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I've always noticed that Edgar Berlanga didn't have the best defense, and it's like he'll be like when his mind is on the defense, like he'll be okay. And then like he loses focus You know what I mean? And he'll forget to bring his hand up. And they said he did a whole training camp defending the left hook against Canelo. They had drills that they were just keeping his hand up, keeping his hand up, keeping his hand up. And then when Canelo lulled him to sleep, he dropped his fucking right hand. That's why he got caught with that bomb Canelo threw and put him on his ass in that one round. You feel me? So Berlanga, he just, I don't know, man. He's not the smartest fighter. I'm gonna just say that. Yeah, anonymous. That's actually a great observation in terms of him being him about him being him squaring up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired, so my mind all over the place. He was definitely squared up. He was definitely standing square on that first knockdown that Hamza gave, because Hamza cracked him with a left hook. Then when Hamza's shooting these combinations, he's standing completely square, standing straight up. I don't understand. You should be like, if you under fire like that, or you hurt, whatever the case is, why are you standing straight with your hands up, like just giving your opponent an opportunity to land some bombs on you? You should be looking to tie him up, sir. You should be looking to tie him up. Berlanga is the next Josue Vargas. Sheesh. Josue Vargas out here looking crazy. Jose Cepeda fucked his career up, bro. But yeah, Josue Vargas is actually a great example of somebody who wasn't able to bounce back off of a knockout loss. You know what I'm saying? He was doing all right in his career. Jose Cepeda sparks him. You know what I mean? He gets stopped in his hometown. And it seemed like he was never able to take a punch the same after that. And I don't know if that was like some damage that he sustained physically where he's not able to take a punch the same. It could be like a physical thing, but I honestly think it's a mental thing. You know what I mean? Because once motherfuckers get hurt, that's all they worry about after the fact. Or they get knocked out. They tend to think a lot about getting knocked out after that, and then they play it extra cautious. You feel me? Yeah, Dakota Linger. His name was like Dakota Linger, right? Dakota Linger came in and beat the dog shit out of Josue Vargas, man. I'm like, damn, bro. Jose Cepeda ruined that man. Said Berlanga not allowed in Bahia. Slime said he had to ride out with Berlanga and Bayamon. Yo, that's the first thing Berlanga did as soon as he lost. Then they took a flight to Puerto Rico, like, over there, like, mi gente, like, nigga, get the fuck up out of here, nigga. Go sit your dumb ass down. Y'all see Oscar De La Hoya cooking Edgar Berlanga, bro? This nigga on a private jet with a wig on. Yo, Oscar don't give a fuck, bro. Oscar is a nasty nigga, man. This dude, the first thing he did, that probably was one of the things that Edgar threw at him and shit. He just kept it. This motherfucker was on a private jet with a wig on, like, bro. Like, really think about this. Why do you have a wig with you on the plane, bro? Like, why is that in your luggage, bro? He said, Hamza Shiraz, congratulations, Edgar, you got knocked out. I'm like, yo, this nigga Oscar ain't shit, bro. He said that was the wig he gave him. Oh, that makes a shit ton of sense, though. So that was actually one of the items that Berlanga threw at De La Hoya. He gonna go ahead and keep the shit. See, Oscar a nasty nigga, because me personally, if somebody throws some bullshit at me, I'm gonna throw that shit away. Or I'm gonna throw that shit to the side. You feel me? Like, fuck all that, nigga. This nigga De La Hoya caught the wig and was like, oh yeah, we gonna keep this. I could use this. This wig is badass. That's how they be talking. This wig is badass. Fuck. Motherfucker, I'm trying to tell you, De La Hoya a nasty motherfucker, boy. See, like Oscar, not the type boy that you could play with, man. You can't even roast Oscar because he the type motherfucker. You'll make fun of him for not being heterosexual. You know what I mean? And Oscar would be like, "You want to see? You want to see how gay I am?" Like, yeah, bro, he might show you, bro. I'm cool. I ain't even about to be making fun of Oscar because he might do something. He might do something to you, and it's not like you could. It's not like you gonna beat Oscar up or anything like that. Cause let's keep it real, Oscar a dog. Ain't like you gonna fight that motherfucker. Oh, you probably swing on Oscar, but you better be ready for what's gonna come back. He's an old head, but Oscar's still a dog. Don't get it fucked up. Shit. Yeah, Oscar took that pink thong too. He probably was wearing that shit at the fight. Yeah, Oscar a nasty nigga, man. You can't play with him. Anonymous says, also, Mark, we gotta ask ourselves one question. How washed is Canelo? So, Anonymous, are you saying this because Canelo wasn't able to finish Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz was able to do it quite easily? If that's what you're referring to, I've been saying that Canelo been slowing down. I've seen signs of Canelo Alvarez slowing down since the John Ryder fight. I know I know Canelo tried to blame it on injuries and all that good stuff, but you know what I mean? It wasn't just injuries that I saw that made me think that he was slow. His reaction timing didn't look as fast. You know what I'm saying? His counterpunching ability didn't look as sharp. His conditioning, even though he was never really known for his conditioning, seemed like he started slowing down in rounds that he usually had, gas and just little stuff like that. And Canelo now, it seemed like he getting a bit like repetitive with his approach offensively as well. Like he'll throw the same combination. He throw all his punches wide. Canelo just looked like an aging fighter. But what do we expect, y'all? That man turned pro when he was 15 years old, and they said that he had fights in Mexico that still aren't on his record to this day. They said he had like 5 or 6 fights that didn't go counted. So this man done had what? Where? How many fights Canelo Alvarez got right now? You know how many training camps he done been through? He piling up all these injuries. He done had surgery on his knee, on his hand and shoulders. Like, bro, Canelo Alvarez has been showing age. And as soon as I seen the William Skull fight with Canelo, you know what I mean? I wasn't really liking Terrence Crawford's chances, but now I'm like, yeah, I could see how Bud could beat him. You see what I mean? And people, trying to give Canelo the benefit of the doubt. As always, they don't ever do it for black fighters, but they'll do it for Canelo. They give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, he wasn't really motivated for William Skull. He didn't want to face William Skull. You know what I mean? He gave up the belt the first time because he didn't want to fight him. He only fought him because, he wanted all the belts before he fought Terrence Crawford. And, all that sound good. But to me, based off of what I see, and I got a pretty good judgment on when a fighter's aging or not. Canelo's definitely aging, bro. What is he, 34, 35? How old is Canelo? He done been pro longer than half his life. Canelo 34, y'all. He turned pro when he was 15. So it's about to be 20 years that he been a professional. That piles up, bro. That's serious. Turn off the sink. My girl doing whatever she doing in there. That ain't me. R3 said, bro, I remember Canelo used to have a great engine and the power carry late. The best Canelo at his peak was against Triple G. Benavidez also said that. Well, we got to take into consideration that Those were smaller weight classes. I always said that Canelo Alvarez was truly a middleweight. You know what I mean? I ain't think he ever had any business at 168, but I think that Canelo Alvarez has decided to stay at 168 because he going up against guys who um, they may be bigger but are slower. You know what I mean? And him coming from a smaller weight class, you know what I mean? His reflexes tend to be a little bit better than theirs. His hand speed tends to be better than theirs. And with the experience that he has, um, he could pretty much outthink any of those guys that was at 168. He was the most polished fighter up there. And I just think he took advantage of it. He had the skills and he had the experience to deal with them. So I think that's the reason why he chose to stay at 168. But I've always said at 154, Canelo had fast hands, great engine, um, higher probability of getting a knockout. 160, he was very slick, especially his upper body movement, great counters, fast hands. I think that 160 was his weight class, but I think as you just get up in age, you really don't want to cut weight no more. So, or as much weight as you used to, you kind of get sick of that. So you just stick in the weight class that, you know what I mean? You don't have to train as hard to compete in. You know what I mean? And I think that's why Canelo Alvarez engine ain't the same no more because fighting at 168, you know, he doesn't have to do too much in order to make the weight. And if you're not training as much to get the weight up off you, then you know what I mean? That of course that's gonna have an effect on your gas tank. If you're not training as hard to make weight, your gas tank ain't gonna be as sharp as somebody who worked their ass off to make the weight. That's just how that shit go. 88 Sports Talk. He says, Bud gonna have trouble early. Second half of the fight, Bud will take over. So it's probably going. So it's kind of probably gonna go like Andre Ward, Kovalev one, where Kovalev was dominating early, even dropped Andre Ward, but at the last few rounds, Ward started to pick that shit up and really start to press the issue and really expose Kovalev. You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. Rough first half, strong second half. Silks Bando said Bud got a tough task at 54. It was a competitive fight, and now two weight classes off a 1 year layoff. Yeah, I was speaking about that. I told everybody, and I still feel this way, that this is a uphill battle for Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of questions he's gonna have to answer. Is his feet still gonna be fast and you know, how's his punching power going to carry up to 168? Can he take a punch from a full-fledged 168? You know what I mean? Is his conditioning going to be the same? Is his reflexes going to slow down? Is he going to feel sluggish? These are relevant questions that need to be known. Mr. Danny Guns, salute. He says, is it over for Berlanga or he has more opportunities in the future? I don't think it's over for Berlanga, bro. He only got 2 losses, you know what I'm saying? And one of them was against Canelo. So that was a given, to be honest with you. But he only got 2 pro losses, bro. Like Super L had 2 pro losses. And look how the way he came back and became world champion. I just think it's a matter of coming to the realization that you have work to do, that you're not ready for these big names at 168, and he needs to, keep his head down, continue grinding, and get himself back in the winning column. You know what I mean? Run up a few W's, and then once you, gather those experiences, you could take that into a fight against another contender, you know what I mean, and possibly do a good job in the process. Coffee Plant says, I remember he said after the Madrimov weigh-in, he said 154 was still hard to make for him. Is that normal? I think what Terrence Crawford meant to say that it was a sacrifice. You know what I mean? I think he meant to say it was a sacrifice to get down to the weight. I don't think he was saying that he was he struggled heavy or he was drained or anything like that. I think what he's trying to say is, cutting weight is a stressful process. You know what I mean? It's a stressful process. So I can see why he could be looking at 154 as a tough weight cut. Not because he outgrew the weight or anything like that, but because, you know what I mean? When you've been in the game long enough and you just constantly, you know, losing weight, that could have an effect on you, man. Oscar gonna cook him on Clapback Thursday. Watch him put on that same wig. Oscar be tripping. Do I think Bud comes in light? I think I personally believe he does, just to have some agility, you know what I mean? Some bounce on his step and stuff like that. I can see that happening. That's crazy. Hold on, my pop just said that's crazy. The Puerto Rican boxing pages are referring to Berlanga as the ex Puerto Rican. You see what I'm saying? And when I said PR don't fuck with Berlanga, niggas were saying I was tripping or, you know what I mean? Uh, having people in my comments talk about how Berlanga a star in Puerto Rico. I'm like, bro, you're out your mind, bro. Who the fuck told you that? Motherfuckers just be saying shit. Who told you that Edgar Berlanga is a star in Puerto Rico? You ain't hear that shit from a Puerto Rican. Tell you that shit. You ain't learned that from a Puerto Rican. Absolutely not. I never heard a Puerto Rican say Berlanga was a star. The ex Puerto Rican. Wow. I'll never forget when Berlanga he tried to get the crowd involved in the Canelo fight. None of them Puerto Ricans said anything, bro. And he gonna sit there like, yeah, man, they ain't cheer me on, man. Like they wasn't being supportive. Like, bro, you're a fucking nobody, bro, in Puerto Rico. This is a strawberry Pedialyte, like a little powder, John. I've been dehydrated lately, so I'm trying to stay on top of my shit. Was it low that said some dumb shit like who you talking about? Down low boxing? That's what you talking about? Down low nose boxing? I don't know. He probably did say something like that. Yeah, down low nose boxing somewhere talking about um how Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz reminded him of a fight in the 80s and shit. Remember when Salvador Sanchez, man, nigga, shut the fuck up. Niggas can't tell you nothing about boxing today, so they always want to bring up some shit from the past. Like, nigga, shut up. Well, Wilfredo Gomez in 1988. Shut up. Shut up. Silks Bando said, Turkey be moving like the mob boss telling Matias who he fight next. Yeah, that's funny as shit. I really didn't like that. You feel me? Because Turkey need to go ahead and tell Canelo that. How about you tell Canelo that, Turkey? How about you tell Canelo that? You ain't tell him that shit. You tried to tell motherfucking Canelo that shit, talking about no, you ain't gonna fight Jake Paul. Oh no, you not fighting in May. You just gonna fight in September. No. Then Canelo was like, no, I'm gonna fight in May, bro. Like you got me fucked up type shit. He was about to go fight Jake Paul. And then Turkey submitted to his, demands and shit. You know what I mean? So Turkey know who and who not to, pop that shit to. You feel what I'm saying? My pop said Turkey better be careful how he moves with Matias, especially in the US. Yeah. I seen them dudes that Matias be with. The truck driver union of Brooklyn. Shit. Yeah, I ain't like that. Like, because you wouldn't never talk to Canelo like that. So why the fuck is you talking to Matias like that for? And I know they not, they got different types of star power. But it's like, bro, I don't like that pushy shit that Turkey be on, bro. Like he be trying to talk to niggas like he they boss. You feel me? Cause I remember when Turkey was coming around, he was like, he likes to talk directly to the fighters, and he don't really like, like talking like to promoters and all that. But it's like, nigga, you trying to act like you they motherfucking boss. You over here trying to talk directly to the source because you don't like talking to people's team and all that. Like you want to, like you pro fighter, but you over here you ain't even trying to give fighters a motherfucking choice. Matias versus Puello was robbery of the year. You out your fucking mind, Marky. What are you talking about? That fight could have, for real, that fight could have went either way. So that definitely wasn't a robbery. Yeah, I'll be using that robbery term too loosely. If anybody got robbed, for real, if anybody got robbed that night, it was Katia, bro. That nigga was giving David Morrell all the trouble in the world, bro. Nigga dropped Morrell and all. And I thought Katia had won, but then when I heard Morrell won, I was celebrating, boy. I was celebrating. Cause I did not want that drug cheat to come up off of that opportunity, bro. I was so glad he got robbed. You feel me? Fuck all that being fair shit. You know what I mean? Fuck all that being fair shit. He wasn't fighting fair in the first place. That's why he about to go serve this 2-year suspension for being a fucking drug cheat. So if anybody got robbed, it was Katsev, but I'm glad it was him and not anybody else. Like I said, I ain't about to sit here and say anybody clearly won that bout. I think it could have went either way. You know what I mean? So if you say 7-5 Puello, cool. 7-5 Matias, cool. Draw, cool. But I'm not about to sit here and act like there was a clear winner because I think it was that close of a fight. Matias is a future walking CTE. That guy takes so much damage. I think like Matias does get hit, but I think like people just act like he get hit with every shot that's out there. I be seeing Matias roll underneath shots. I see him slip shots. I be seeing him do it. You know what I mean? It's just with that type of style he got, it's like you bound to get hit. That's another, yeah. Like how many times you really see Matias all busted up and shit like that? I think he got that cut off a headbutt too. The cleaner and more effective blows. More effective. You out your fucking mind, bro. The more effective blows. If anybody was getting affected by punches, it was Puello. The fuck? Puello. I'm seeing Puello getting hit with body shots. Them Jones fuck got him shelled the fuck up. Matias was cracking him, bro. You saying he landed the more effective blows? What's your definition of effective? Because if anybody's punches looked like they was doing more damage, it was Matias's, to be honest with you. Marlon 2631 says a robbery is a boxer that clearly losing gets to win, not a competitive fight. Exactly. Like I said, people use that robbery term too loosely. They think because they think is okay, they thought this fighter won. But then that fighter don't win. Robbery. Like the fuck, like when the fight's competitive like that, it could go either way. Like I said, I just had a fighter on Saturday that lost a split decision, meaning one judge thought he won, and the other two judges thought he lost. It's a close competitive joint. It could go either way. It is what it is. Listen, Puello got a shit ton of heart, though. I didn't think that, because I honestly thought that he was gonna fold. I seen Matias hurt Puello a few times too. I don't understand what the problem is. Are y'all mad that the fight went Matias' way? Because Puello done had a few close decisions that went his way. Gary Antoine Russell and the fucking Sandor Martin fight. So now we upset because Puello had a close fight that didn't go his way this time. I try to tell everybody that was probably going to be the fight that stole the show. Puello really impressed me with how great a shape he was in because, when Matias applying that type of pressure, bro, by like the mid rounds, them guys already like hope broken. Like they ready to go. They quit on their stool. Like Puello wasn't having it, bro. Like he really wasn't having it. He was really letting his hands go. He fighting off the back foot. Well. Cause I used to see him like stand his ground and shit. That was fucking Puello up in the beginning. He was standing. He was trying to stand with Matias, and Matias was dropping bombs on him. And I think he came to the realization that his corner was even telling him, "Yo, like you gotta use your feet." You feel what I mean? So he used his feet. You know what I'm saying? He was boxing effectively off the back foot. I like that. He was countering well, just like I thought he would against Matias. But Matias, I thought he landed the more devastating, harder punches. You feel what I mean? If anything, like Puello was letting his hands go and he was landing, he was scoring, but like his power didn't really look like throughout the majority of the fight. Because there's people in the chat saying that he might have gotten there was people that saying he might have got hurt in the 11th round or whatever the case is. The majority of the fight, Puello's punches did not faze Matias at all. He did not respect it. Puello definitely was getting worked in the early rounds. It was actually getting kind of dark for him in them early rounds, and then Puello got that second win. I think that second win saved Puello, but that goes to show how great a shape he was in. So you got to give Puello credit. He's a good fighter, bro. And I seen that they trying to line up Dalton Smith versus Subrel and all that good shit. I went back and watched Dalton Smith. I don't have a doubt in my mind Subrel fucks Dalton Smith up. But Puello and Subrel too, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. That may possibly be a trilogy if Puello gets the job done in the rematch. Yeah, like nobody. See, that's what fucked me up about the whole thing. It's like Turkey talking about, yeah, you're gonna fight Dalton Smith next. Like, nigga, who the fuck is asking for Dalton Smith? Like, Turkey need to start fronting acting like he be doing all these big fights because, you know, the fans be asking for him. No, I be feeling like a lot of the time he be getting swayed by these promoters to make certain fights. Like, I be feeling like he be doing favors for niggas for real, for real. Ain't nobody asking that shit. Nobody asked for Dalton Smith to fight Puello or motherfucking Subarel. But I guess since, you know, I guess he a top rate contender in the WBC, they trying to get that shit taken care of. I don't know. Hell yeah, there's greater fights for Matias right now. But you know who quiet as shit since Matias won the belt? That boy Hitchens. Ain't say a motherfucking thing since Matias won that belt. That motherfucker thought he got away. He thought he got away from Matias. Matias just took out one of their top dogs and shit. Hitchens ain't say a motherfucking thing. Now he trying to worry about Devin. You ain't fight nobody to get no fucking Devin Haney, nigga. You had one title defense. You already talking about fighting Devin. Nah, you don't need no fucking Devin Haney fight. Devin Haney fighting Brian Norman. Who you gonna fight? Who you gonna fight while he fight Brian Norman, nigga? That's what I want to know. Oh, my pop just sent me that article. Or that post. It's this page on Puerto Rico called Puerto Rico La Isla. And it says, like, pone el sobrenombre en Puerto Rico, ex Puerto Rico. I can't pronounce that shit. I think it's like Puerto Riqueño. The ex Puerto Rican. That's fucking hilarious. Somebody posted this and it said, "Así quedo." Yo, they frying them. That's crazy. Oh, wait. Hold up. We just got some breaking news from Turkey Al-Sheikh. Says Turkey Al-Sheikh tells Mike Coppinger that he's hoping to deliver 2 big fights on the Canelo Crawford undercard. Christian Mbili, Lester Martinez, and the battle of the big babies between Gerald Miller and Jared Anderson. Okay. Those some good additions. Why not? Mbili and Lester and the battle of the big babies. I'm going to tell you this right now. Gerald Miller is going to beat the dog shit out of Jared Anderson. I promise you that. That might be the fight that retired Jared. Jared too small. That nigga too small for fucking Gerald Miller. Bro, I seen them niggas. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, Jared Anderson is not a heavyweight, bro. He's not. He is not a heavyweight. I'm trying to tell you, bro. I seen this nigga Gerald. Mind you, Gerald Miller a big motherfucker. He be like 300 plus pounds during the off season and shit. I seen this nigga walk up to Jared Anderson because he just called him out face to face, like I think yesterday. Bro, this nigga looked like 3 of Jared Anderson's put together. He's like he tripled his size. I'm like, oh hell no! I said, bro, I didn't think that they, cause I met Jared Anderson before. And I when I looked at him in person, I'm like, oh, he not big at all. And I done been around big heavyweights, bro. Like I done been around big heavyweights. I know a big heavyweight when I see one. Jared is not a big heavyweight, bro. Jared's not even that tall. He's not. Like I'm trying to tell you. Like I got a picture with him on my phone. Is he taller than me? Yeah, but nigga, I'm 5'9". I'm not tall. Jared Anderson is not that tall. I'm 23. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, he little, bro. Gerald Miller look way bigger than him, bro. And Gerald Miller's style, that pressure, that his durability, his ability to take a punch. I seen this nigga take flush ass punches from Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois really had to put that shit on him to stop him. And the only reason why he stopped Gerald Miller for real is because he was tired. Let's just keep it 1,000. Then, bro, I'm seeing Andy Ruiz hit this nigga with shit. He ain't going nowhere. I'm like, yo, and Andy could crack. I'm like, bro, this nigga's chin is on a different level. Like, what the fuck? He did kickboxing and all that shit. He said he never been stopped in kickboxing. So I'm like, right, this nigga just he got a granite chin. You feel me? So it's like, bro, Jared, he could crack, of course, because he's a heavier, like he's a big guy like all these other dudes, but he ain't got enough power to keep a Gerald Miller off of him. And the way Gerald Miller be putting you to the ropes and he ripped to your body and shit like that, he was hurting Andy Ruiz to the body and all. This dude, he gonna stop Jared Anderson, bro. If they fight, he's gonna stop him. And I don't even think Jared Anderson really care about boxing no more, for real. I think that Bacoli fight really destroyed that boy confidence, to be honest with you. And, even in that last fight he done had against that bona fide scrub, no disrespect to dude, forgot his name. But dude wasn't supposed to make that fight competitive with Jared Anderson like that. Jared Anderson almost got stopped in the last fucking 10 seconds of the last round, getting punched all over the fucking ring. That dude wasn't even supposed to have that fight competitive at all. He shouldn't have had that moment at all. But Jared Anderson, he act like he don't want to be in the ring no more. He don't love boxing. He said, bro, he don't care to be a world champion. He just want the checks. A motherfucker with that type of mentality gonna be easy to break. He gonna be easy to break. Because, if Jared Anderson all about the money and he knows that regardless of what happens, he gonna walk away with that check, you think he really give a fuck about winning? If you that burnt out from the sport where you don't care to be champion or nothing, you just want the money, like that's your only motivation, you bound to fail. You bound to fail. The money is your only motivation, not the legacy, not your competitive drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're setting yourself up for failure. Tank saying the same shit. Yeah, and look how the way Tank be moving. But Tank, I'm gonna tell you, Tank a scary nigga though. He said a whole lot in that one interview he had. He was like, man, my biggest fear is losing. I just don't want to be embarrassed. Tank's scary money. I just think that Jared don't give a fuck. It's a difference. Like Tank, you know what I mean? I think that he don't want to go up against certain styles because he don't want them styles to expose who he truly is to the world. Jared, he don't give a fuck about his career as long as he get paid. Something about boxing just really got him in a zone where he just don't care about his career no more. He don't care to be great. Tank don't care to be great neither, but you know what I mean? He not gonna take no chances. He ain't gonna take no chances neither. You know what I mean? What y'all think about Ryan Garcia out here trying to give his opinion on the fight as if this motherfucker ain't just lay an egg? See, Ryan Garcia be pissing me the fuck off. And it don't be because, and besides the PEDs and all that shit, just like he's a very, very, like, you got to be an ignorant bastard to move the way that Ryan Garcia moves, bro. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. Like, you know what I mean? The last time we seen Ryan Garcia, this motherfucker was over here making Rolly Romero look like Guillermo Rigondeaux, prime Guillermo Rigondeaux, 122-pound Guillermo Rigondeaux. You know what I mean? Nonito Donaire, Guillermo Rigondeaux. Had him looking like him, completely outboxing you, beat you with a fucking jab. And when you tried that nigga gangster, he put you down with the first hook he put out there. And then y'all had an understanding. Then you know what I mean? Almost got your dumb ass body with that hook. So then after that, y'all had an understanding and you refused. You refused to engage with that man. You feel what I'm saying? And Ryan Garcia, he been hating on black fighters for a long time. He went on that racist reign. He told you exactly how he feels about black people. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't see this man criticize no motherfucking Katiev. I ain't see this for using PEDs like he did. You know what I mean? I ain't see him criticize anybody. For real, for real. I ain't even see him criticize Edgar Berlanga. But here he goes, speaking about Shakur Stevenson, who put on a great performance against William Cepeda. He says, Shakur didn't do any running tonight, but he also didn't fight a guy with power tonight. Hold on, let me share this so y'all don't think I'm capping. You feel me? Look at this right off of his page. Shakur didn't do any running tonight, but he also didn't fight a guy with power tonight. So I want to see him fight someone with some power and see what he does. Other than that, congrats, good work. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Shout out to the first person who actually responded to this. He said, Cepeda has 27 KOs and 34 fights. Right. Like, what are we even talking about? Jibo said, we don't care. I feel you, brother. But whenever I got the opportunity to shit on Ryan Garcia, I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to definitely do it. Because he's a fucking clown. And that, clowns are here to be made fun of, brother. So you already know I'm on here just looking for an opportunity to fry his bitch ass. You said write him back? Write who back? James said Ryan can't say shit. He lost to Rolly. Exactly. It's like you over here telling niggas that they need to go face punchers. Nigga, he need that William Cepeda can't punch. Like what? What are you talking about? All of a sudden he can't punch. Motherfucker was stopping just about everybody before he ran into Tevin Farmer. All of a sudden he can't punch. Like what? So if a motherfucker got 27 KOs and 34 fights, what does he do? Because I know you ain't doing that with pillow hands. How about this, Ryan? How about this? Why don't you fight Shakur then? You feel what I'm saying? Because you could supposedly punch, right? You known for being this big dynamic puncher. Even though your power really didn't show up in the Rolly Romero fight for some strange reason, why don't you, as a power puncher, fight Shakur Stevenson? Oh, that's right. You couldn't make weight. Against Devin Haney. You came in 143, 144 pounds, whatever the case was. You cheated in front of the whole world. You know what I mean? You got caught. You got exposed. You did a year. Came back against Rolly Romero. And whenever you decided to take a chance, Rolly was beating the fuck out you. And I told Rolly, I said, bro, what's your mentality going into this fight? He looked, bro, this nigga dead ass told me, and this on my son life. And I got the messages right here. He said, Ryan is a bitch. He's always been a bitch. And he will always, he said he's always been a bitch and he will always be a bitch. That's what Rolly Romero said, bro, on my son life. That's the first thing he said. That nigga's a bitch. He been a bitch and he will always be a bitch. That's what that nigga thought of you going into the fight. And he exposed you to the whole world for being a bitch. Shout out to Rolly Romero for that. Like you over here trying to play it like you not a hater. You ever met them niggas that try to play like they ain't haters, but they always giving out backhanded compliments? Oh yeah, that nigga Mark, man, he got, you know what I mean? Like he got a good fighter, bro. You got a good fighter, man. But but that fighter was good before Mark started training with him. You know what I mean? Like that nigga, shut up. Yeah, man. My son, my son was taking it easy on, Mark's fighter. You know what I mean? My son, my son got hurt to the body, but we supposed to be taking it light. Because they fight this weekend. And shut up, hoe ass niggas. Niggas act like they want to show. Niggas act like they fuck with you and want to show you love and shit. Then they want to throw in some little sneaky jab in the mix. Nigga, I thought Ryan Garcia was friends with Frank Martin. This nigga was training with Frank Martin and then going around telling everybody that could hear that And they was in the same stable at the time. Oh, Frank, I got, man, Tank's gonna knock Frank Martin out. Frank Martin, like, nigga, can you imagine that? Do you know how much of a piece of shit you gotta be to be playing it cool all in this nigga face, trying to make it seem like he a man's? Then you go look at an interview he did right after that, and he talking about how somebody gonna knock you out. Damn, nigga, we was just cool. Like, that's the type person Ryan Garcia is. He's a very shitty individual. Very shitty individual. So, Ryan, keep Shakur name out your motherfucking mouth. He doing shit the clean way. He actually beating top competition. You have yet to do that. You talking to somebody who's defending a world title while you was never able to win one. Stop speaking on that man's name. You feel me? Well, you entitled to say whatever you want. Let me take that back. You a grown man. You entitled to say whatever you want. But long story short, I don't give a fuck about what you talking about. Shakur is everything that you probably will never be. And that's a world champion in multiple divisions. You know what I mean? One of the most skilled defensive fighters in the world. You definitely ain't none of that. Your defense trash. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't add up. Shakur Stevenson really the fourth king. Motherfuckers keep talking about, I'm seeing shit like, wait, who the four kings of this era? T.O., Ryan, Devin, and Tank. We putting Shakur behind Ryan? Shit. Out your motherfucking mind. Fucking Ryan's the fourth king. The fourth king of what, nigga? The four kings, from the past era, they actually were all winning world titles. That's what made them the kings. That's what made them the kings. Ryan Garcia had plenty of opportunities to fight for world title. I remember he was Devin Haney mandatory at 35. He chose not to go that route. Then when he finally faces Devin Haney, he having all types of mental breakdowns and, smoking weed, drinking, partying, smoking, and, illegal IVs and purposely missing weight and testing positive for performance enhancement drugs. That's what you do? That's the man we consider in the fourth king? No notable wins on his record whatsoever? Who's his best win? Luke Campbell? Duno? Come on, man. Them other guys on a completely different level. Y'all got to remove. Y'all going to use T.O., Devin, Tank. You got to put Shakur and just call it raps. That's just what it is. You feel me? So, yeah, man, those were my takes on what went wrong for Edgar Berlanga. You know what I mean? My opinion on Ryan Garcia hating on Shakur Stevenson and Oscar De La Hoya completely frying Edgar Berlanga after his fifth round TKO loss to Hamza Shiraz. I hope y'all enjoyed the live. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to get up out of here and catch up on some rest because I got a tough work week ahead of me, a tough work schedule ahead of me. So I'm going to go ahead and catch up on some Z's, and I'll be back at y'all with another live 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated. Shout out to the 40 people that's in the building. This is Mazuma TV, the home of boxing excellence. Y'all go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel. As always, I hope y'all have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.